Hey guys, it's Katie Ramp, your independent Jamberry consultant, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I put on my jams. I'm going to show that to you, and I have to make a correction. It's not today, it's tonight because it's 11 o'clock at night on a Friday, and I'm about to do my nails, which you usually can't do when you're doing a typical manicure with lacquer. So that's pretty neat. I have already prepped my nails. I have pushed back my cuticles. I've washed my hands with a degreasing soap, something similar to Dawn. There's no moisturizer in that soap, which is really important. We're trying to make the best bond possible. We want it to be a watertight seal, and adhesive does not stick well to skin or oil or moisturizer. So we've tried to rid our nails of all of those things. And then I came back, I buffed my nails a little bit because I have peely nails and I didn't want the peeling to kind of get in the way of a good adhesive bond. And then I have used something that you don't have to use. You can just put your jams on clean nails. I use two products. They are Jamberry products. I have very weak and peely nails. They rip off really easily. They're very, very moist nails. And so I use two products underneath my jams. The first is our strengthening base coat, which is this. It's clear. It's a base coat that goes on and it dries very quickly within the course of a minute, maybe a minute and a half. By the time I've painted my 10th finger, my first finger is dry. And then the second coat that I put on is our smoothing base coat. I put this on second, and because I have peely nails, they're also ridgy, and a lot of people have ridgy nails, whether you have strong nails or not. And this just helps give a good base coat when you're wearing either sparkles or a matte. It's really important for me to get the look that I want to use this. So I have put both of these on already in preparation of my nails. I skipped telling you a step. I also used alcohol to dry my nails after I buffed them. Get everything off of those. In front of me I have prepared what I will need. I take my jams and I cut them in half, so I have one long strip of Jamberry nails, wraps, and then I cut out the ones that I need, which I know what they'll be. After I washed my hands, I dried my hands with a paper towel as opposed to a hand towel, to just so that I didn't risk getting any of those fibers from the hand towel onto my nails. And I use that damp paper towel. I lay that in front of me on the table, and that helps to catch the little pieces of plastic that will come from the backside of the jams. It keeps them from falling all over the place. It gives them a place to stay. So I use that moist towel down here in front of me. I take my jams, so once I've cut the jams that I need, I know that I need, so they're like this. I cut them directly in half. I don't save the piece that's in the middle. It's a little bit too much work for me. I'm usually trying to get my jams done quickly, either right before bed or while my baby is sleeping. And so you could do that and use that middle piece that you wouldn't, like, I would have that much left over, probably a little bit more, for your toes or an accent nail later on. So I don't do that. It probably would be a little more cost effective if I did, but as it is, jams can boil down to about $2 to $3 a use, so I'm not too worried about it here. So I have cut those out, and I usually lay them out in front of me. You can, I think, kind of see, maybe you can't see, but I lay them out in front of me in the way that they're going to go on my hands. Excuse me, in my hands, so that I don't have to really do too much thinking while I'm doing my nails, because I usually put on a little bit of Netflix, do my nails in a half an hour, I'm done. So again, I've done all of these nails and I've prepped all of these nails, and I have the tools that I'm going to use in front of me. Excuse me. The tools that I definitely need while applying my jams. For my cuticles, you need an orange stick. Pushing that back, I've used my buffer, and I have clippers in front of me, a good set of clippers. These are curved scissors. These are delightful. They're extremely sharp, and they're really helpful in trimming my jams. And I'll show you quickly two ways that I trim them. And then this little guy. All of these items are actually in our application kit. This guy's worth the application kit. This is a rubber-tipped cuticle pusher. It has an angled end. Can you see that? An angled end, so you can use it as a cuticle pusher. But this little guy right here, the rubber tip and the angle that it has, is really great to help push down and seal the jams once you're nearly done with application. I love this little guy. He is extremely worth it. The way that I trim my jams, I trim them two ways. My middle finger, the wraps are either extremely too small or extremely too big for my middle finger. So I often put my wrap on and I will trim it before I push it down. I don't remember if, excuse me, I don't remember if, sorry, I'm a type 1 diabetic and my insulin thinks it's going low, but it's not. I don't remember if I needed to trim the size I chose today, if I needed to trim it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. One tip that I always do is on my thumb wrap, the bottom of my thumb, and most people's thumbs, I believe, is a little more flat than it is round. And so I just cut right across the bottom. Can you see that? So it's flat as opposed to being round. And then one other last tip that I'm going to give you for right now is I do my right pointer finger last, always. Because I cut these in half, I am not going to use this tip at all, so I use that to hold on to. I peel it back with my finger and I hold on to the wrap where it's not going to be placed onto my hand. So I do this guy last. So now what I do, I've got my fingers prepared and I'm going to peel this back. I should have like prepared it a different way or something, but so this could have gone faster. This is actually always the hardest part for me. I peel it off. Again, I'm only touching that very edge that is not going to be touching my skin. I'm like touching nothing. I switch hands because I need to do this. I am ambidextrous, like I am not good with my other hand, but I'm about to do my right hand. You can see how easy this is. So I'm going to take this wrap. I like to use the table as pressure as I'm guiding the wrap onto my finger. This is called a cold application. This is not good. You can't see it. How can I make this so you can see it? You're not going to see. I lay the wrap on my hand before I heat it. So I've just laid that on my nail. And then I push it down and make sure that it's where I want it. But because I have on base coats, I can't really move it. That's where those handy dandy, really sharp scissors come into play. I can trim it around my cuticle or my skin if necessary. So then I just push it down from the center to the edge, and I made sure that it fit well. From the center to the edge again. And this guy looks pretty good. And then instead of trying to push down the tip right now, I leave the tip, because my finger's a little rounded, I leave that tip not quite touching. And this is why I do that. I'm using an older heater because that's what came in my consultant kit. I also have a new one that I have a party tomorrow and I'm going to use it. The new one's quieter than this one. This one's pretty quiet though. So I'm going to let this get a little warm and hold it there until the tip of the jam is flexible. Because this has some sparkle in it, it needs a second more. So it's soft, and I give a tug. Grab the tip and give a tug down. Push it forward, or excuse me, pull it forward and give a tug down. I want to seal the tip of my nail here. So that's the first time I'm going to heat through. Ooh, it's a cold night and that warm heater is nice. So I've done that. I've pulled it through so you can almost see like where my nail lays. I'm going to heat it one more time. And then turn it off. Pull it down. And then I get to use this guy. And using the pressure against the table, I push it down kind of into all corners. And if there seems to be an air bubble, which I hope that I've pulled out in a moment just before, but if there are air bubbles, I push them down. And then I do something probably uncouth in the Jamberry world. I leave this on. I want the adhesive underneath it to cure as long as possible. I want it to get cool. If I had, wow, look at that hair. If I had planned ahead of time, I would have brought an ice pack out, like just one that you would throw on your knee if you had a knee ache, and let that cool so that the adhesive has time to cure before I trim it. That for me has been the key to lifting. If I can pull down on these guys during that first process. I pulled down it on the second time too, and then let it kind of cool. Then I've had just less lifting. So again, I'm going to do my right pointer last. So the next one is my middle finger. And I typically wouldn't do my thumb. I would have done my middle finger and then my thumb. So this is actually a little more challenging than typical. Pull it off, put it down on my mat. Take this, using the table as my pressure, I lay it where it needs to go. And I do that in a slower process, and that's okay. And it looks good, both sides. So center to side, up and down. And again, I don't push it all the way down. There's a little bit of space between my nail and the wrap. And we heat it up. And I do all three very quickly. I'm sorry that this just takes a little bit longer, but I want to give you the true essence of what I do. I pull it down, tug it down, and then I'm going to let it warm up again. And while I have those other nails that are a little bit long on, still on, I try not to put them in front of the heater because the goal is to get them cool. So here you go. I'm tugging. I'm going to use my rubber cuticle pusher, which I'm so much better at with the other hand. But you really can see that anybody can do this. It's super easy. You can use your hair dryer instead of a mini heater. However, this is much quieter, and it has a cooling option. On the new one, it stops if it gets too cool and sends out, or excuse me, if it gets too hot and sends out some cool air. So this guy looks really good. I'm just gonna let him stay there for a second. Let him cool completely. This is the harder one because I've done my thumbnail. I got it, don't you fear. And then I lay it just like we have done twice before. Lay it down. There is going to be some gap, just so you know. It's not crazy and it's not just you. There's going to be some gap that it's not going to go all the way to the edge of your nail. When you go get a manicure done, they often take an orange stick and wipe some of the nail polish off from between your cuticle and the nail because they know that's going to lift and peel faster. You're going to have a lot more nicks faster. And it's the same way. You don't want it to touch your skin completely because you want the watertight seal. You want these guys to last. I'm a mom of a 1-year-old. I use my fingers as tools, baths multiple times during the wear of jams, and I do dishes every day, and I cook from scratch often, and I play all day long, so I really want the best seal possible. This nail I broke in between taking off my jams and putting on jams, and so it's kind of a crooked nail, and it looks funny, but all right, one more time. So I pulled it down and I pushed it flat, and I'm going to do it again. Pull it down and push it flat. Pull it down. And again, I would typically let this cool or put a quick dab of ice on it for a moment, although it's pretty cold in here. I want to say, like, if I touch my nose is very, very cold. It should be good. All right, here's my key. Ready? I don't file. I clip. I clip to where I think my nail is. I can pay closer attention to that, but I realize that this video is already extremely long and you're probably extremely bored. So I'm going to not look at the bottom of my nail, and then I'm going to go back and clip to the very edge, just a little bit of the nail. I'm not even taking off very much growth at all, but I'm taking off enough that it won't lift. This is also where the paper towel underneath you is helpful because you don't want that all over your kitchen. And so I've done my middle finger, and I'm going to do my thumb. My pump is yelling at me again, but it's just going to happen. And so you can take that, what's left, and just put it right there on your paper towel. Very helpful. And then I trim off the very tippy top of my nail. That feels like it's actually on my skin, so let's take that off. And I hope people are watching towards this end. All right, I hear you. And then last but not least is my pointer. It really does not take 15 minutes to do 3 nails. It takes 15 minutes to talk about doing all of your nails and then only actually do 3. So please do not be intimidated by that. At this point, I get my manicures done in about 30 minutes, taking off my nails, which takes a few seconds, but prepping my nails and stuff, sometimes it takes 34.5 minutes, but see, that nail's crooked, I told you. And that's it. That is Love Spell on my nails and how I do my cold application and what works best for me. So that's all. If you have any questions, please send me an email, or I hope to see you at a party soon.